Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. And our first one comes from Barclay Schlatt Jarrity. Am I the beehole for letting my wife's friend quit, causing her to lose multiple benefits, totaling in 50k plus? I, a 25-year-old male, work with my wife's close friend, Sarah, a 29-year-old female, who she has known since college. They were sorority sisters, and my wife was her big, and Sarah was the little, or something along those lines. Sarah and I were in the same industry, and she eventually applied for a position at the same company I currently worked at. She got the job almost 3 years ago, and we've been at the same Midwestern office. She was a part of my team, but I dealt very little with her directly, and wasn't her direct report. Sarah had done very well, and was promoted within 6 months to a good position. She seemed to be on the fast track, but recently stumbled in her last interview for a sought-after position. We gave the position to a more deserving candidate, in my eyes, as we sometimes see Sarah was upset, and it was the start of her leaving the company. I could sense she was applying elsewhere, and did put in a 2 weeks notice. Offered to stay on 1 month in line with her project's deadline. We accepted. We wanted to keep Sarah, but I could not give her the raise because she was already at the top of her pay scale. Her job offer was actually lower pay, so there was no leverage there either. I told her this within a few days, and she was pretty upset. She decided to leave immediately. Here's where the issue comes up. Sarah was aggressive with her 401k, and the company stopped options by my recommendation. We have a 10% 401k match, very generous, and stock buying options. Match stock prices, basically a 2-for-1 price of one deal. She would tell me later she maxed out the 401k and stock options every year. The problem is, my company has a 3-year vesting schedule before the matching is permanent. So, if an employee leaves before the 401k and stock matching is gone, Sarah's 3-year anniversary was in the 1-month notice date, but not when she abruptly quit. It's something I realized between Sarah's notice and her quitting. I wasn't able to advise her on this, nor did I know how much she put into these programs. There was really nothing I could do when she abruptly quit. It was about 2 months later, Sarah came over with my wife and laid into me. Why is she laying into you? She's looking for someone to put the blame on. How sad. Whatever. She tried transferring her funds and found out about the vesting period and asked if I knew. She revealed the amount she would be losing during her transfer funds, and it was greater than 50k. Both Sarah and my wife had said I'm the beehole for not warning her. Oh, your wife is on her side too, huh? I told her the situation, how I did not consider her quitting immediately, in front of others too. So, am I the beehole for not warning Sarah that she was just short of her 3-year vesting period? That would have saved her 50k. Hi, OP. You are not the beehole. Sarah is a grown woman, and she's able to make her own decisions. If she had came to you and asked you for advice, then yeah, and, give her the advice, I would have, if she's quitting. But she foolishly went ahead and quit immediately and screwed herself over. She only has herself to blame, but she feels stupid and wants to pass the blame on to someone else, and you seem to be the patsy for this situation. And shame on your wife for taking her side instead of having your back like, a wife is supposed to, a husband is supposed to, in these situations and see that her friend's an idiot and made the decision on her own. You are not your wife's friend's father. Family, father. You are not omnipotent. You can't sense what she's doing and see what she's doing. And like you said, she quit in front of everybody. I doubt that's gonna pop into your head and say, oh, what about your, you gotta wait a certain amount of time so you can get all your money. That's not gonna pop into your head when someone immediately quits. I wouldn't even think about that until it's time, like what she's doing, until it's time to look into that and start taking money from that sort of thing. It wouldn't even cross my mind. I don't know, it just really gets under my skin when someone makes a stupid decision and then they don't, look at themselves and admit, hey, I screwed up, and try to pass the blame on to someone else. Just in this case, you and your wife. You know what? I won't speak ill of your wife because it's your wife, but shame on her, man, for not having your back and not. She's over here. OP, she chose her friend over you. That's the way I'm seeing it. Because I know if I had a friend and he was like, oh, your wife didn't tell me about this thing that no one really thinks about until the time, because I'm like, sucks for you, bro. That's not her job. If you had asked her, she probably would have told you. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. So no, OP, you are not the beehole. Your wife is slightly a beehole because she should know better, and your wife's friend is a straight up beehole trying to put her stupidity and her mistake onto you. Again, OP, not the beehole. And our next one comes from Vegetable Good 1701. Am I the beehole for not helping my parents out with their phone bill after they ignored my advice? In the country where my parents live, their phone companies are a ripoff. Man, they're a ripoff everywhere. They charge 16 a day for extra for data, texting, and voice calling when you're roaming. My parents came to visit us in Europe when my son was born, and they stayed with me for a month. I told them they should get a local SIM cards because they're like $50 for 50 gigabytes and unlimited calling back to Canada. No, that's not bad. They said they wouldn't be using their phones at all the time, and they didn't want a different SIM card in their phones. I said I'd pay for the damn SIM cards, but they wouldn't listen. Well, they just got their phone bill. Each of them kept their phone on and called family and friends and sent pictures of my son and their trip back home every day. They were here for 35 days. At 16 a day, their bill was an extra $560 each. They called me and said they couldn't afford the extra $1,000 bill after their vacation. I paid for their flights, they stayed in my home for 26 days, and I used points for their hotels for the other 9 days they traveled around. All they paid was for the food and souvenirs for those 9 days. I refreshed their memories. I said if they wanted, I would send them the $100 that I offered to pay for the European SIM cards. They are upset that I won't pay the bill just because I'm petty about them not doing as I suggested. I declined to argue any further. My mom posted about it on Facebook, how her rich son, I am not rich, screwed them over because they wanted to visit. I ignored them until people started saying I was a jerk for doing that to them. So, I literally posted the receipts, the cost of their flights, hotels, restaurants while they stayed with me, and we showed them a good time. I also posted screenshots of them saying that they would stay off their phones, so they didn't have to do what I said. Pretty much everyone started saying they were not smart for ignoring good advice and greedy for asking for more after my wife and I already did so much for them. My mom is pissed. Well, 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 if it isn't the actions of their consequences. I like how your mom is pissed. She has no right to be pissed. You told them what would happen. You even offered to buy the Sims for them. Like, I don't know what else you could have done. You can only lead, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And they still have the audacity to come after you and say, oh, my rich son, oh, he won't pay our bill, after you generously paid for all the big things except for like what food and souvenirs you said, and she's still ungrateful and still tried to make you look like the bad guy on social media. I'm glad you had the receipts and even had the whole we won't be on our phones so we don't have to listen to you. It's $50. All you had to do was spend $100 together and you could have avoided $1,000. And you told them I don't, it's crazy how people could still act like this when you told them what was gonna happen. It's not like you kept it a secret. And I'd be embarrassed and ashamed to tell someone, hey, could you pay for my $1,000 bill that showed me and told me how to avoid it, and even were going to pay to tell me to how to avoid it. And it's no secret that these phone companies are rip-offs, all of them. OP, not the beehole. I'm very glad you have the receipts, and I'm sad and disappointed that your mother is acting like a petulant child over here throwing a tantrum saying, oh, he wouldn't pay for my bill after we foolishly made that mistake. She is an adult. She should have realized, hey, I made a mistake, and you gotta handle your mistakes. It sucks, but you gotta do what you do. And if I were you, OP, no more free trips for them if she's gonna be that ungrateful. OP, not the beehole. And our final one comes from Cornelia Stemphil. Am I the beehole for refusing to attend my friend's party after she uninvited my boyfriend? A few weeks ago, my close friend, a 26-year-old female, invited me, a 27-year-old female, and my boyfriend, a 28-year-old male, to her birthday party. We were both excited to attend as we've known her for years and get along well with each other's friends. However, yesterday she messaged me saying that she had to uninvite my partner because one of her friends doesn't like him. I was upset and confused, as there was no previous indication that anyone had an issue with my partner. I asked for more details, but my friend became defensive and insisted that it was her party and she could invite whoever she wanted. I agree that it's her party, but I feel hurt and disrespected that she would uninvite my boyfriend without a valid reason. As a result, I decided not to attend the party. Now my friend is angry with me, accusing me of being a bad friend for choosing my partner over her. Am I the beehole? So, I'm very quick to cut people out of my life because I don't like doing things and interacting with people too much. And just enough for that, that human part. Where you need that social interaction, skinship, I guess. So that would be enough for me to wrap things up with her because she's trying to act like you're a bad friend when she was a horrible friend to you. She uninvited your partner, who both of you guys know her for years, so it's not like, oh, I just started dating this guy for a month and you don't really know each other. I'd get that, but that's if she didn't invite him in the first place. But she invited him and then uninvited him because somebody you don't know, or maybe you know, but we don't know who's starting this, doesn't like him, or for some reason, like, she needs to give you some kind of info. Or you know what I mean? If I were in your shoes and the chick I'm dating got uninvited to a party, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going because I'm with them. You know what I mean? And I want to be a good boyfriend. And yeah, I don't know what she thought would happen. She'd be like, oh, someone, you uninvited my boyfriend and he's, not happy, but screw him. I'm gonna go hang out with you, my friend. Yay. She's not a good friend. Like you said, she needs to give you some sort of valid, um, explanation to why she's uninviting your boyfriend. And yeah, you're right. And she's right. It's her party. She is free to pick and choose and refuse whoever she wishes to want to invite there. Just like how you were able to refuse the invitation, like you did. OP, you're not the beehole. If your friend keeps acting stupid like this, I would make her not your friend anymore. But yeah, OP, you're not the beefhole, and good for you for, having your boyfriend's back. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning, and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.